Hello. Do I go ahead and join?
Give me 1 second. Let me make sure everything's good to go on my end here, and then we will
Okay.
go ahead and start. Yep. All right. Yeah, looks like we are good to go there.
All right. Well, it's 4 p.m. somewhere, so I'm gonna go ahead and open my first beer.
Sounds like a plan.
It's 4 p.m. here.
4 p.m. Okay, so you're Pacific then.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Coming in from Los Angeles.
Oh, hell yeah.
Where are you guys at?
I think we're good to go stream-wise. So, all right, let's get this going here. I'm going to start this up here. Hello, everyone. Tonight will be the third pre-made battle test we'll be doing. We recently added Cloud Strife to the pre-made roster. He's another unique character. He's from Final Fantasy VII, if you already didn't know. Basically, we're trying to see how well he works in the pre-made environment. So far, fairly well. He requires a little bit of patience. Got to have a lot of pre-planning to utilize him effectively, as well as using his limits. His limits are tile targeting only. They cannot target any unit. So you'll have to take advantage of turn order primarily to work around that. But he has some pretty strong attacks and effects, so we'll see how these two, work it out here tonight with Cloud. Tonight we have Drase, point of view, and he's going to be going against JL. Hey, Jay, you there? Let's make sure.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm still here.
Awesome. All right, so these guys are going to be doing the best of three. We already situated the host. Drase will be hosting. Jay will be coming in as guest, so we'll be taking the guest positions on the map. Of course, there's going to be a best of three here. Drase, are you good to go? All right, Drake's going to start hosting, Jay, so you can go ahead and hit join whenever.
I am joining now. Oh, no, I'm not.
That's fine.
Yes, I am. I'm playing a game right now where the X button is okay, and the O button is cancel, so it's reverse for this, so I'm going to be doing a lot of backing out of my menu.
Okay.
So please bear with me. Have patience.
Yeah, it should be fun. Jay was saying that he's got like a little bit of a button issue, like it's maybe like sticky keys kind of.
I'm used to playing with the reverse of OK and cancel.
Yeah,
for the emulator.
If you see him like kind of take a little longer, that's probably wise. All right, let's see here. All right, so see, game one will be on Lionel Castle Oratory. After that, Ballius Swell, and then tiebreaker will be Zer Shell Falls.
There we go again. I just kept canceling out of. Are you finished viewing the rules? Yes. Yes.
Oratory? Yes. All right, so we're gonna start the first game on a pretty small map. So it's gonna be very minimal setup time here. Let's see how both the teams play out and see if there's going to be any form of aggression, any kind of slowdown. We're about to find out.
Was I supposed to have submitted my team choice?
No.
Or are we just going into this free-for-all?
Correct, yes. And, let's just say, hypothetically, there's a tournament going on. Still, you do not need to submit a team choice. If we get down to the point where it's like the finals or semifinals, then at that point, I'll probably collect that from you. Prior to going in, it's obviously not share with your opponent, but just to kind of have it for like history preservation purposes. But
sure.
When we're doing stuff like this,
I'm so sorry. I've been holding up the game this whole time. I was supposed to be pressing OK. I usually host, so this is new for me.
Heard that. All right, guys, we're about to start game one here. Once again, you're watching Drase's point of view versus JL. They're going to be setting up their party of 5 right now.
Oh, Cloud. I like his pixel art in this. It looks like he's like quarantine Cloud. He's gained a little weight.
That's true. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering why they went with the a little bit more of the red instead of like the blackish purple he was wearing in the original 7. Or, I guess it's kind of like a purplish blue, rather. I mean, he's got the pants. The pants are pretty close, but
The MC Hammer pants, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I think about that.
Try to fit it.
Hmm.
I'm in the minority, and I find Cloud, the character,
Mhm.
to be a little bit of an insufferable emo whiny brat.
I mean,
Um,
honestly, yes, especially in Crisis Core. Did you ever play Crisis Core?
I haven't. No. Which one was that? Was
That's
that a
the
fighting game?
no Crisis Core is the prequel to 7. It came out on PSP way later, of course. When the
It was a
original 7.
prequel with who is that guy's name with the blue hair?
Blue
Jack.
Zach? Is that what you're talking about?
Was that his name?
Yeah, Zach Fair. Like he's the main character in that game.
Got it.
Yeah,
It's like the origin story of the sidekick.
more or less, yes.
It's like, oh, what? How did that buddy cop dog come to be? Like, he was just trained at the beginning of the movie, but where did he come from, really?
You talking about,
Alright.
talking about Cloud or Zach?
Oh no, I'm talking about Zach. He's like the buddy cop, but like the dog buddy cop.
Oh yeah.
All right. I've never played with any of these guys, so this is going to be interesting.
Heard that. All right, guys. So we're going to be starting game 1 right now. Let's see. So starting off with Jay's team is Dancer, I believe, or this. Okay, Stalwart's going to. All right. So right now we're watching Jay's Stalwart make action real quick, and switching over now to his Distractor. All right, Distractor's going to start a dance here. Reposition and in her turn. Swapping over now to JL's Apothecary. Alright, he's going to advance his Apothecary in the midline of the stage.
Not as far as I wanted to get.
Alright, we had a Nature's Wrath proc from Warden, so that means he's going to return Geomancy back to Apothecary from being under attack. Pretty decent damage there.
I learned a valuable lesson today.
What's that?
Think twice about shooting Warden, was it?
Yes. Yeah, Warden and Cloud both have Nature's Wrath, so you have to be careful making the choice of shooting them or attacking them in general. Alright, Drase is going to go push his Cloud pretty much in the same midway where JL's Apothecary is located, and he's going to start, I was looking like he's potentially getting ready to set a limit up here. Or he's going to go for Martial Arts. Yeah, you get options. I mean, that's what he is. He can go either way.
Well, the Russell Gaffney did take off a decent chunk of life, so
It
I feel
did.
like the trade was good, but man, 160 on Geomancy is rough.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it scales off of it actually uses PA and MA to calculate. So, in general, yeah, it's gonna hit pretty decent.
Yeah.
Somewhat on Nature's Wrath.
That's what I love about Geomancers as a class. If you're building them in a single player game and not thinking about balancing them in a pre-made scenario, having them with both magic attack and physical attack gives them a lot of flexibility so that you can stay in the back row and continue to affect
Right.
the battle.
Yeah, I'm personally a big fan of Geomancy in this game too. It's pretty nice. It has good range. It can AOE, and of course the status effect is always a plus. Oh,
Agreed.
good play there, JL with the Ren
Nice.
weapon, taking down Cloud's Materia Blade. This will effectively now limit Cloud's limit completely, where he can no longer use his limit break attacks. This will now force Drase to use Cloud to either do a normal attack, which is going to hit pretty low, or rely on his martial arts. Very good play there, Jay.
Thank you. It was 71% chance to rend on
71% chance.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right, goes casting.
Sleep.
Right, look, Jay was trying to go for the sleep here, Geomancy. It does not connect any sleep, but it does do damage to 3.
Oof.
Nature's Wrath returning
Nice.
damage as well. No sleep proc from that either.
Be kind. What would have been a bad idea is to position him for the Nature's Wrath so that he could have also affected one of Drace's.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah. That's some next level plays right there.
Yes, sir. All right, Drase is going to somewhat advance his Warden. Look like he's going to be going for Jay's Apothecary. Apothecary does go down. That's the first KO of tonight.
He'll be back.
I'll be back. Heard that. All right, switching over now to Drace's Sentinel.
Also, big fan of Regenerate or Regen.
Regen? Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just free HP, man. Like
That was always a plus. Especially in the late game.
If you play, yeah, absolutely, especially in the late game. Like some guys, you have 2 guys that are like on the brink, and one guy has regen. You can just leave him alone. He can just go hide in the corner, come back later in the game fully healed up.
Yeah, pretty much.
You just sit there and wait. You're not taking down that much count time on your turn. You're getting free heals. You're not creating a liability for your team. Ooh,
All right, Drase is going to use his Peer Viewer to cast Haste Regen on his allies. That's going to effectively increase their turn actions, as well as have healing over time at the end of each of their turn.
Oh, he gets to keep it. Darn it.
All right, hop it over now to Jay's Stalwart. He is currently still channeling a Bard Song. If you want to switch abilities, or he's going to make another player. Alright, Stalwart's going to go ahead and end his turn. Cloud is now trying to attempt to cast Finishing Touch. This is pretty interesting, actually.
I thought he needed to have a sword to cast his Limit Break.
Okay, so either we found a bug, or because Finishing Touch was already casted, it bypassed the check for it. Like it's a pre-check. Do you have Materia Blade slotted? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be that. That's okay. Well, we're definitely gonna check Cloud's actions when it gets back to his turn to make sure, because that is something that should not have, in theory, happened. But yeah, congratulations, Jay. You were the first person to actually break Cloud's weapon the first go. So achievement unlocked there.
The pleasure is mine. Now both my dancer, like my autopilot guys, are stopped.
Yeah.
Cool.
That, however, is very questionable. I didn't think that should have even happened. He should have failed, if anything. So I'm wondering, is it?
Don't even bother breaking it.
I'm wondering. Yeah, pretty much. I'm wondering if it's because he was already like pre-cast, like cleared the checks to be able to cast it.
That's my suspicion.
Yeah. That's
funny.
That is pretty funny though, and also sucks for you at the same time. All right,
well, when I said that homeboy was coming back, I lied.
Well, you had the intentions right, but
yeah, right. Like the intention of winning, but
yeah,
the execution is another thing.
Well, like I said, I mean,
man, that haste is huge.
At the very minimum, you did do something that I was trying to do the day too, was try to break his weapon, but you pulled it off the first go, so that's good. You did use the right character to do it too. Ranger is specifically the best person because of his PA to have the highest chance to break anything on Cloud. And it's awesome that you got that landing, especially hitting him while he was in cast time. It's just awkward how he still got that limit off. So,
yeah, in a normal universe, that would have been a finger quote good play.
How many turns is Cloud before Cloud's turn? Just out of curiosity. Check turn order real quick. Yeah, okay, 2 more. Okay, definitely see the limit our actions grayed out.
Okay. So good news there, I guess.
Well, we haven't gotten there. We haven't gotten there just yet. He's got 2 more turns ahead before he gets to Cloud's turn again. But I want to make sure, like, if limit should be grayed out. You shouldn't be able to use any more limits. If that's the case, then that's probably what the first part was. Imagine that as long as he was able to cast or make the cast prior to having Material Blade, then it will still go through. But after that, no. So we're about to find it here in a second.
Haste is really just S plus level.
Yes, absolutely. Double the speed. Can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
So effectively right now, Paraveer, I believe, is at 22 speed. I think she's at 11 speed. Cloud, I think, is yes. Limit is grayed out, so you no longer can be hit by limit. Okay. Sadly, though, Finish still connected though, which is pretty crazy. But then we at least know. We know now. Okay, so we did learn something new here, guys. See, we have some experienced people here, but we still find out something new mechanically, especially so. But you can still get the initial limit cast if you still break. After that, no more.
So Masamune is pretty much That's a nice.
That's a pretty strong punch.
It is.
That
nice,
PA.
Heavy punch.
Mm-hmm.
Masamune is like auto take. No.
Masamune.
Yeah, for Paraveer, it's kind of tough to beat in terms of like just early game buffing and having it last.
Right. Yes. And so originally when we had her, she didn't get a whole lot of picks. I mean, she's just in general fairly strong melee character. She normally hits for like 300 off a normal attack, like unprotected. Or if the target's unprotected. So she hits pretty hard regardless. But the problem we had was looking at how to give players options of being able to get those essential buffs. Protect, Shell, and Haste tend to be essential buffs, especially in the PvP realm. So obviously you want to be able to cut damage down by 2/3 with Protect and Shell, and then you want to be able to speed, or essentially double the speed of your character's speeds with Haste, which means they get more actions in between. So we gave her Masamune because we felt that she needed, we needed to be able to have another option, or another choice rather, that could provide speed buffs while not necessarily making her like next tier level. Well, she was already good, but she just didn't get used a lot, and so now with her having it, it's more of a viable option. Of course, you can go back and rely on either Sage's Haste to do it, which is a little slower, but also Paraveer is slow in general, or she's in this like she's evenly matched in speed, so it's more just about getting that setup time at that point. Of course, you can go with Time Walker, who would have the fastest setup time in regards to Stasia. But still, that has a charge time because you got to let everyone else go through their turns before it starts to become faster. So,
I think the.
What's up, Ludi? How you doing?
I think the reliance on Haste is what I'm not accustomed to.
Okay.
Having like somebody buff, Protect, and Shell in the beginning, is good, but it's not like a game changer. So for instance, me not having Haste, like I could just set the controller down, and like I was not able to go since Ranger last went and got blocked by Shirihidori. So if I didn't have Haste, then it's a snowball effect where I've lost out now on, double as many turns.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So definitely think, lesson here for me is get buffs, like get buffed and debuff the team.
Absolutely. Yes. And at the very minimum, get buffs. Not necessarily debuff, but definitely get buffs.
Buffs.
It's definitely like when it comes down to wanting to cut down on damage coming in, especially when playing against aggressive players. Protect Shells is a godsend. It's a necessity if you want to be able to have a longer game. If you don't have it, it's going to be trouble, especially depending on like if your opponent runs a unique and which unique. They can just kind of just start mowing things down. Um, and I mean the same with haste too. Like essentially you need those three buffs. You need protect shell. You need haste. You can get protect shell through either paladin. He also has wall as well. But you can get it through.
That one's a long one.
That's a long one.
It's tough to.
Yes. Yeah, it has a
It's
lesser
tough to
chance.
see the payoff when you have other options like Kiyomori.
Correct. Yes.
And I feel like that to me is the most efficient buff, and like anything beyond that, I feel is too powerful for the lasting effects.
Okay. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but I think that's just a matter of like salt and pepper, you know. But yeah, the consideration is that haste effectively doubles your speed. So for my bard character, you know, like adding +1 speed to all my characters, maybe every 3 turns isn't nearly as powerful as a 1-turn buff of haste.
If you coupled it with both, if you had a haster, so if you had Paravi or Sage or Time Walker do it alongside, let's just say for example, instead you had Distractor, you had one of those three that I just mentioned. You could then get the best of both worlds. You can start to outspeed Drase's characters by giving them by hopefully getting that +1 once Rousing Melody goes off, or Rousing Melody goes off. And then on top of that, having haste already up. So once you get that double and you get that +1, you start to outspeed. In most cases, you start to outspeed most characters if they are also hasted. So that's
definitely something that pays off more in the long term. Where and I tried to couple it with the slow dance so that that separation grows wider as the game drags on.
Right.
But just not having haste was clearly the biggest disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean for also you got to factor the map too. For that I would I would probably go I probably wouldn't have gone Sage. I probably wouldn't have gone Paravi or Time Walker just because you want to get it off as fast as possible. You don't have a lot of time to really start. But anyhow, let's you're ready to go game 2? All right. Jay, you go to game 2? Okay, cool. All right, Drase is searching or hosting now, excuse me. All right, perfect. All right, so game 2 will be on Balius Swell.
Review the rules. I like how they ask you that. They say, and you don't have a chance to object. You know,
pretty much.
Like, you must accept these rules.
Pretty much, it's either accept or turn your PSP off.
Yeah, or go jump out the window.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, so we're gonna start Balius Swell here. This is game 2 in the best of 3 series with watching Drase's point of view versus JL. I believe this map is a medium-sized map, so there's a lot more room for setup time. Thinking at least anywhere between 3 to 5 turns on each team before we really start to see some movement towards it, when we start seeing some bloodshed starting to happen here. So this will give a lot more opening for slower characters, for example. This will give a lot more flexibility with build options who you want to use to get what kind of buffs. But just as a common thing as we just mentioned, always try to look at getting Protect Shell from some source. Always try to get haste from some source, especially when you start looking at these longer games. This map in particular is really going to require that as the game gets towards the end game. So there are several options here that both players can choose from. We'll see what's about to happen. All right, get ready to start game 2 right now.
Balius Swell. Everything's just swell. I will see myself out.
All right, let's see.
Oh, it's like the Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man.
Pretty much. All right, we're going to start off here with Jay's turn. It's going to start off with this Delita.
Have you ever heard anyone pronounce it Delita?
Delita? No, but I have heard Deltia. I've heard that several times. And that's
Deltia.
Deltia from Deltia's Gaming, ESO. But
Wheel of Flying and it shows. Deltia.
yeah, I've heard that quite a bit.
That's outstanding.
Like there's an I before the, or excuse me, there's an I after the T, not before the T. But
Yeah, it's kind of like the Spooderman version of Delita.
Mm-hmm. Alright, I'm swapping over now to Drase's Delita. It's going to go ahead and end his turn here. Switching now over to Jay's Guardian. Haven't seen Guardian too much, so I'll go a little bit of explanation here. Guardian is a tank. She's actually a magically defensive tank. She's able to take a lot of hits specifically from magic. She also has access to Speechcraft, which allows her to either do some bravery or faith adjustments, which is what Jay is trying to aim for right now. He gets the bravery increase here on his parry. That's going to bring her bravery from 60 to 64. Increasing bravery, especially on reaction abilities that require bravery or have a bravery percentage chance, having those go up is also a plus. That means that Paravir's Shirodori percentages or chances for it to apply is also going to increase when under attack, so that's always a plus there too.
I did not plan this out correctly, so do not do as I do. Do as I say, and try and get all your guys buffed.
There you go. Yeah, I mean that works. Like so you get some time here, so.
Please don't break. Oh.
All right, Jay's gonna get
and Remedy on this guy. Okay, that's fun.
Just one panel though.
That's all I need.
That's all you need. Alright, swapping over now to Drase's Warden. And that'll be the end of Warden's turn. Switching over now to Drase's Sentinel. Sentinel's going to start casting Protect Shell on her allies. That's going to reduce damage taken by 2/3 from both physical and magic attacks.
That's how you do a proper buff.
Alright, now it's Drace's Superior's turn.
I suppose even if your Moss Immune does break,
it's for the most part, it's like when it comes to Masamune and Kiyomori, it's typically fine unless the game's really dragged out, like going between
you're
like 40
actions. You're not gonna cast
plus.
this twice.
Exactly. Now I've had a couple instances where the game has gone well into 50 actions plus, and those buffs actually do fall off. So, I mean, yeah, there are still opportunity of needing to recast those abilities, but they do last a while once you get them up. So that's good in general.
Yeah, I play with an action limit and not a time limit.
Yeah, so time. You said you never play with time limit.
That is correct.
Okay.
It's strange when you have the 15-second. You get down to that.
The cooldown or the reset.
The cooldown, yeah. And you can kind of make a move faster than that if you know your character really well, or you're like, okay, this guy's an archer. I'm just gonna be poking people all game long. I just move to a space and fire, and it
pretty
takes
much
less than 15 seconds, and you can go on indefinitely like that. So it's not a true timer, like a true chess timer.
Exactly. Yeah, and it never causes someone to lose or win. Either it just runs out, and then once you run out, it's just gonna refresh it. Like I think it's 12 seconds per turn. And then I think if you get you get the action and that character's turn ended before the timer runs out, then it shifts over to 15 seconds, and it just keeps refreshing at 15 until you go under a certain amount. But yeah, I did something to me, Drase and I need to talk about maybe a little bit later in is potentially switching to action limit, but right now I think it's fine for the most part. There's only been a handful of times where time has really gotten down to the point where it was having to refresh. But the one thing I do like about it though, and it's kind of annoying, but I do like the fact that once you do run out of time, you really have to like really look in advance, like what you need to do with whoever you have up at that point. You really can't take a lot of time to look around the map and turn the camera around multiple times, because at that point you're burning seconds.
So that's what I agree with, is the sense of urgency in having that red alert timer mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just, blue sky idea here. Why not set the timer to 5 minutes?
Timer to 5 minutes.
And let the players really like take that 5 minutes and use it with care. And you got to set up in that 5 minutes as best you can, because after that, it is balls to the wall. Like,
right.
I gotta think of something to do in 15 seconds or less, and it just like, if you don't make your play,
yeah, you kind of screwed. I don't know, like I like the like I have like a Halo background, and in most of the games in Halo, especially like the 4v4 matches are 15 minutes, sometimes 12 minutes depending. But I like the fact of having time, but also the way the timer works in this game, I do like as well, because like I said, it causes you to have to really push it at that point. Like, you can't really sit there and take your time, which I know it could be counterintuitive for some people. Like, some people like to really like sit there and think, kind of like chess like.
Sure.
But once you get that time out, like, you got to start going. Like, otherwise you're gonna lose your turn before it's too late.
Yeah. You don't have a time option. So wait. So what is it about Halo that ties into this?
So. Yeah, I was like, what? Why would you bring up Halo? Well, basically, what I was saying is, I used to play a lot of Halo, and essentially a lot of Halo games relied on having either a 12-minute or a 15-minute game clock, which is pretty more or less what you're seeing right now. The difference is once the time runs out, unless it's tied score, or depending if it's objective games, it will either sudden death or go to overtime. Basically, that's what that is. Or it will just end the game outright. And I like the fact that this game allows you to not end the game on whoever time runs out first, but rather they have to progress very quickly at that point. I personally like the 15-minute time, but also the way the pace is a pre-made games. Pre-mades tend to take a little bit longer because of the way they're set up.
Right. So, well, you can adjust that. Oh, that's right. He has safeguard.
Mm-hmm.
Derp.
Yeah, Ramza Delita and it's just Ramza and Delita have safeguard on them on purpose, so that they can't be broken. They're always effective in some way.
I love seeing somebody parry, especially with defender. You see that thing?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's a refrigerator. Plunk.
Catch this.
Yeah.
Alright, so we got Jay's turn right now. This Delita is getting behind Drase's Delita right now. And he's going to go for the North Twain on Drase's Sentinel. It does not connect the KO, but it still does pretty decent damage.
I go for the... What is it? Ice Cube's Chance in Hell?
Oh.
No, that's not the phrase, but...
Well, I
always go for like the low probability whatever, because if it does go off, it's dope.
Surprisingly, Delita's his status effects land a lot, or at least like with Drase. Like he'll be doing a match and he's like half the time like he'll get a KO or something. Like, what the heck? Like, it's crazy how often they'll proc on Drase, but like on others, like not so much. It's Sheardor's going to catch that bullet midway.
Oh, it does, yeah. What movie was that? Where you catch a bullet? The Prestige.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh my goodness. Yoshinja. Well, if you don't have another match to host,
I recognize the title though. Like
it's a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah. I recognize the
box art. We're not here to talk about Chris. We're here to talk about Final Fantasy Tactics.
Picking up on something new, right?
There you go.
Alright, now it's over to Jay's Guardian, who is currently chilling in the water.
she's chill. Really don't want to group my guys up, but I'm afraid I have no choice.
Quick question: Are you checking turn order periodically?
Nah, I'm just going for it.
For it, okay.
It's like, at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to what can I do with this character in this moment. It's pretty much the only thing I can affect. Like I can't.
I mean, turn order is pretty
much, and like.
What's up?
Like for like a synergy, you know, like setting up combos and whatnot is gonna be a little less predictable,
right?
In a PvP setting because I can't really predict what.
I gotcha. Well, I mean, even if you're not wanting to use it for that, just knowing who's going up next, is always important too. Cause so that way oh well, Drase's the leader's coming up next. I've got my guy's in a certain position. He could end up hollow bolting like all 4 of them, for example, or something like that. Like maybe I need to either you just attempted to sleep him, so and that kind of plays into what I was just saying. Like, oh well, he's about to act. Let me try to sleep him so he doesn't get to act, kind of deal, knowing that he's about to act next.
And I'm not sure if he's actually immune to sleep because of Jade Armlet.
I
wasn't able to.
He's not. I don't believe so. I think
Jade Armlet is stop. I think.
Yeah, I believe it's stop and stone. Yep. Yeah, he can be KO'd. He can be put to sleep. He can be disabled, immobilized. Most of them, but he has Jade mostly because of Cloud. I wanted to make sure that Ramsla and Delita couldn't be don't have a 3/3 chance on finishing touch to be hit by all of his or whatever gets rolled, since finishing touch rolls 1 of the 3. All right, Drase is going to go ahead and take down Jay's Apothecary with the first KO for game 2.
Well, grass snap.
And switching over now to Jay's Paravir. I could play there, Jace.
Fast.
Yep. Gonna get the speed buff to the rest of his group. And a little bit of regen included.
Oh, that regen. That's just the icing on the cake.
Alright, now we're going to hop over to Drace's Sentinel.
I had a Sentinel of my own. I think she was a Lancer as well.
Whoa, what was that? I didn't catch the last part.
I had a Sentinel of my own as a pre-made character.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think, let me see. Before we started coming up with builds, I think there was one character I personally really liked that you had. So I wanted to make sure I didn't quote unquote steal them, kind of. Yeah.
It's common. What they call Creative Commons. It's public IP at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I found myself mimicking some League of Legends characters, some other Final Fantasy characters as I was coming up with these, and I had so much fun trying to find the right balance between fitting into a class, having an individual character and identity, and still being viable in battle.
Oh, we have a Zodiac going out of here. This was charged up earlier in.
Cast. Yeah.
Drase just sent out the bomb.
I'm not here to pay attention, Yoshinja.
All right.
I'm here to have fun.
Interesting play there, by Drase. Yeah. Oh, definitely a lot of fun. Drase essentially has just nuked a lot of Jay's team in one position. Left Guardian at critical HP, and Warden is now going up for the Geo that will take down Guardian as well.
Or turn me into a frog. Oof,
or turn into a frog. Heavy. That didn't happen this I think that probably would have been nice and cake. Why not both? All right, that'll be game 2 for Drase.
Thanks, Drase.
You said GG. GG to you as well.
GG.
Jay.
So yeah, I think lesson learned here: pay attention when people are casting summons at you,
Yes.
and if it is something super nasty that takes a super long time to cast, make sure you take them out. So kids, take notes.
Now, just as a side note, if you check the turn order, you probably would have seen that coming. But I actually forgot that he was even charging that up. Like, I seen him do it earlier, but I didn't realize what he was.
Why don't you check the turn order?
Yeah, I probably should have hit that button, right? Real quick, Jay, do you want to go into game 3 just for the hell of it, kind of deal?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Do you want to just go and do game 3? Just...
I go by my I go by my birth name, the name that my parents had given me when I was born. No, on my stream. So it's weird hearing like my Discord name being.
Oh, right. Okay, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
You're just gonna have to watch my stream to figure out what my real name is. Ooh.
Pretty much gonna need to.
Depending on the recording quality of this, I may or may not throw it up on YouTube, but I'll let you know. This was fun. I'm totally down to do another game because I'm probably gonna get stomped, and it'll take all of like 10 minutes. I'm sure Drase is like, kind of itching to play some more. This wasn't very satisfying.
Heard Drase was not satisfied. He was basically saying that itching for more kind of deal. You probably weren't satisfied between the first 2 games. He said he doesn't care. He wants to satisfy himself some more. So let's go on to do game 3. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's do a game 3. He can satisfy himself afterward.
Perfect.
Nothing to do with that.
All right. He is hosting.
Sorry, I've been drinking beer. All right, I'm joining.
Oh, you good, man? You good?
I haven't used any profanity though, so.
It's okay. Hey, I purposely set the mature audience flag on the channel.
Oh my.
So you good there?
Yeah. It's a fine line. A well-placed swear is hilarious.
Oh, for sure.
Accept my rules.
Game 3 will be Zershell Falls.
I can't stand a host. How do you pronounce that? Zerchel?
Either Zershell or Zershell. One of the two.
It's French.
What? Something of the sort. Alright guys, we're going to be doing game 3, kind of more or less just because going to just get another game in, right? This map is a medium-sized map. It is, both players are going to be spawning directly across from each other with a bridge connecting them in between. So we might see them playing on the bridge side, we might see them going up against the waterfall area, which has a lot of different ledges. So we'll find out what's about to happen, right?
What does Drase usually do on this map? Because that's kind of what I want to do.
Drase does a lot of shenanigans on this map. I'll just throw that up there now. I mean, a lot of shenanigans.
Good.
So just throwing out there, we have access to water, we have access to grass. Hint, wink, wink, those kind of things. We have a lot of height here, so don't know.
I'm going with the ragtag approach, like the traveling circus.
Okay, interesting. Bringing in the circus.
I think what's important when you're coming into a new game that is competitive, is giving yourself the chance to just like play around.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and this is the perfect time to do it. I mean, these are just play tests. Let loose, check things out.
There isn't like a cheering stadium out there somewhere, right?
I haven't seen it yet, so I think we're good there.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, this is the perfect time to check stuff out. That's kind of what we're trying to incentivize with everyone on the server as well. Hey, come on out, check the stuff out. There's nothing really to be had or lost. If anything, you might learn something new.
Yeah, if you lose a game, we're gonna
finish that. Yep.
We're gonna find you. We're gonna give you a hard time.
Interesting choice you got there, Jay. All right, so we'll start off on Jay's turn here with the Time Walker. Just gonna go and do Kiyomori to Plasma Protect Shell to Jay's party.
What I would like to see, Yoshinja, is a more just like pickup games. I mean, it's super easy to just load up the emulator,
Oh, for
hop
sure.
in, hit somebody up on Discord, and be like, "Yo, yeah, I got 10 minutes. I can play the game."
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's
it's absolutely casual.
exactly. It doesn't have. I mean, for the most part, nothing really has been taken seriously yet. At that point, where we're talking like tournament level kind of thing. And like I said before, like this is the perfect time to get into it. I would love to just see people to, hey, look for somebody to play. Half the time if someone's posting in there, I'm probably gonna be like, hey, I'll catch up with you in a couple
Ooh,
minutes.
That's a bummer.
That's
Drase.
a break there. Yep, Kiyomori has been broken there, so that leaves Drase with one more Kiyomori in stock.
I honestly didn't believe it when I saw it on the screen.
Oh yeah, it's happening. We've had a couple times where like first turn Murasame or Kiyomori will just go right in the dumpster. So, thankfully it's Kiyomori though, not Murasame, but never know when it could send later in. All right, Jay's gonna go ahead
Wow, look
and
at
start
this guy.
charging up his cloud.
Cloud has got some move. It's refreshing. Nice.
And I'll switch over to Jay's assassin.
That little sorceress. She
Where is
gives me a little bit of like heart arrhythmia. So
Yeah,
nice
gotta be careful
sorcerer.
those mages. All right, and we're gonna swap over down to Drace's apothecary.
So Yoshinja, I saw that you removed Golem from your
Cleric.
ability selection. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we sure did. We actually had a nice little chat about that one too. So, obviously, Golem is one of Drace's common like setups to use on his team. But the problem that we noticed is that having Golem up indefinitely, especially with Cleric having like 300 or so HP, puts up a 300 or 300 whatever her HP is physical damage shield on all your allies, regardless of where they're at. And ultimately, that means that characters that rely on the attack command, such as Berserker, Ranger, and Hunter, they can't do anything to anyone who is Golem the entire time. They're literally just hitting shields. Berserker might be able to crack a shield.
Sorry to interrupt, but
What's up?
What does her HP have to do with Golem's effectiveness?
Sure. So
are you implying that her HP is how much Golem absorbs?
that is exactly what I'm implying. So when you use Golem, Golem's physical shield is based on the caster's max HP.
No kidding.
That is the stat they use to calculate how large the shield is, the shield strength is. So it's not really her HP isn't really that high for support. It's more or less the fact that if you play her back, which you should as support, and keep her Golem running and constantly refresh Golem, at that point I can't use certain characters because they're not really able to do anything. They're just constantly hitting a shield, and that's kind of limiting those builds to be able to act or do really anything they can. So
it's like a hard block of those characters.
Basically. And I personally I don't want that to happen. Like especially with those characters that rely on a certain way to play. So we made a decision to go in and remove it. It's not something that's game breaking at the end of the day. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of is game breaking for certain characters, but I think overall this is a healthier change for whoever you pick. Doesn't have to necessarily like be completely ineffective.
Well, you hit the hammer on the nail when you said it's a healthy change, because you can shoehorn that, right? You can say, I want Golem in the game because it does give a character a lot of value. It gives you that one turn immunity from physical attack,
right?
And that's a huge buff. Like
it is.
So you just tune the character that casts it, and you make that character just summon Golem, or like Golem and Carbuncle, which is I think Carbuncle is dope.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so you see where I'm going. Like, just remove Golem, make it like fair for everyone. I actually am kind of at a similar crossroads with Lightning Bow and Rubber Boots.
Okay, yeah.
So I have a character with Rubber Boots, and then I have a character with a Lightning Bow, and he's immune to her attacks, and he's a tank, she's a DPS. But I like having the Lightning Bow, because on every other character it has that chance to proc and do 25% more damage.
Yeah, definitely.
Or depending on whatever your faith or magic is, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. When it comes to the Thunder proc, yeah. But still, yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, that's kind of like what we're noticing. Like, Golem was just a little too powerful when it comes to certain characters. Like certain builds, there really wouldn't be any reason to use those characters knowing that Golem still existed. So we dropped Golem. Overall, like, it gets just giving people the ability to play with who they want without feeling like they can't do anything with them just because this person's running one thing, kind of deal.
Totally. I am never a fan of like a character that you just do the same thing over and over again.
Right. Yep. Same here.
Like an auto include character is like, I try to avoid those. So like I don't know, like I come from like mostly RPG background, but nice.
I'm just gonna get file another action here in a second.
So like World of Warcraft, I play a little bit of League of Legends, and it was just discouraging to see like the repetition, you know.
Right.
It's much more fun to see the creativity.
Exactly. Yep. And especially with the way these builds are, they were built with creativity ideally in mind. And I don't want to see builds being hindered because there's this one thing in the game that just literally says no. So I'd rather not have that in the long run.
100%. Have you tried different team compositions? So like a 3v3 style match instead of 5v5?
Okay, different party sizes.
Yeah.
No, we've always aimed for 5v5s. We haven't really, honestly, we haven't really discussed anything below that. I'm not really too sure if it's really worth going into that as much, honestly. Yeah, Drase doesn't really think so either. You were looking at doing 3v3s, right? With your premates?
I do. It depends, like what my opponent feels like playing, but if we play, we'll even do a 2v2. But all that really affects is how many actions we take. Right.
Yeah, you'll have more or less charge time, especially for magics when the number goes down.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you have like the flexibility of hey, I want to do a match, let's do a 2v2 or a 3v3.
Sure. Like, how much time do we have?
Okay.
That's kind of cool. What I've actually noticed is when I play against myself and I have 2 PSPs, that a 3v3 takes about as much time as, I do tend to blab, as you are starting to realize. It takes about the same amount of time as a 5v5 with 2 people. I don't have to pick up and set down the PSPs every time, and somebody else can do the thinking and the moving a lot quicker than I can. I'm not trying to think up an entertaining move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh no, yeah, I definitely get what you're coming from. And yeah, that's honestly, it's a pretty interesting way of going about it, and having that flexibility where, like you're saying, you want to kind of just play a quick game. Hey, let's just do a 3v3 instead of a 5v5 or something like that. Let's kind of pick how many people are playing at once.
Sure.
I know that's something that we hadn't really looked into much. I think we were kind of looking more towards the. Well, in all honesty, we had a lot of like inspiration from like Pokemon, for example. That I think they do. Well, their competitive format is 2v2s, but the normal like traditional format is depends if it's either 1v1 with 6 or it's 1v1 with 4, I believe, or maybe it's 3. But we looked at the 5 option. It gave the ability to have a unique while also running for generic or specialized generics. That way you have enough room to be able to make like a certain team composition if you want it, or you can just kind of go all out and just run whatever if you want to just do that too. But I mean, either way, like with the pace of how pre-made builds have been going, especially as of late, they tend to be, it takes a little bit of time, depending. I mean, also a lot of it's the map too. Is that a finishing touch going off? Yes. And that will be a KO on Jay's Time Walker, I believe. Yes. But yeah, I think we were pretty comfortable on the 5-5 level. But I could maybe see like at a later date, maybe doing like a 3v3 thing, just for like trying it out.
I think in certain maps,
just kind of see how the pace is.
The Lionel Richie Oratory is a good example of where 3v3 still has that excitement.
Yeah. Smaller maps.
You could still make some decent plays.
Yeah, definitely.
Another one is the Brigand's Den, or the Sandrats Seat.
Sandrats Seat. Yeah, I got you.
That's a great 3v3 map. That's a good 2v2 map, actually. I want to say there are a couple good little like 1v1 me, man, kind of maps. And that's one of them. So like what my buddy and I will do if we're playing a 3v3, my pre-made builds, they tend to not be like complete wipes. Like one guy may die.
Okay.
By the end of the match. So like a 5v5, maybe 1 or 2 guys will die in total. So a lot less bloodshed, a lot more of like people in critical and like limping their way to the finish line. But like you can tweak that. So whatever.
No, I mean you did bring up a point though, like doing like 3v3s on small lonely maps or something like that, where there isn't a lot of space, but there's also like a little bit of room to kind of have like the setup time and then just kind of doing whatever at that point. Honestly, I kind of like the idea of that. Maybe something, excuse me, that we maybe be able to explore in a later day. At least kind of just seeing how it plays out.
Sure. Come here, my love.
That steel heart did not connect. However, that distance though.
I'll get her one day.
Oh yeah, I guess it's not really checking the height.
She's not. She doesn't know what she's missing yet.
It's all about the assassin.
Yeah. Please love the bad boys. Kids, take notes.
Alright, we have a Zodiac about to go out here. I'm assuming it was attached to Cloud.
Oh,
of course.
I feel like I started a point about the...
Cloud does go down, or Jay's Cloud will go down in return, but he does have re-raise. Once it's his turn, he will get back up with a portion of his health. We are already made a decision to go in and drop Brave Suit from him next week. We were hoping that the idea of it was that if he does go down, he can get back up and then potentially Blade Beam at low health. But the concept itself is cool, but We ran into the same problem as we did before with competitive starter, and why we had to restrict re-raise items to 1, where depending on the case, like because he has re-raise, you can be kind of you can be more careless with him. It's probably the best way to put it. And if he dies, he comes back, and he can just go back and kind of do it all over again. And
he dies.
Yeah, and he just comes back to life right after, and like that's not really necessarily the route we want to take with any character. You know, you just feel like, you know, at a reward level, if you kill him, he's dead. He's not coming back unless he's purposely brought back from like Raise or Phoenix down.
You could bust his armor.
Yes, well, you could do that too, and that is also a valid point. But in general, I think re-raise on characters, especially in this, is just a little too overtuned. If it only worked once, like I think Angel Ring's the only thing that actually works once. All body armor.
Yes, you're correct.
All the body armor will will stay on them unless it gets broken.
Kidding.
What was that? Was that Lich? Okay.
It was Lich.
Lich did not. Yeah. So Drase was saying that Lich is the only summon that has a chance to miss.
Right.
Which has a percentage chance.
It's also the only summon with a debuff, I believe. It has a KO debuff.
Does it have a KO debuff? Does Lich have a KO debuff, or is it just gravity?
Same as those abilities, so those have the chance to kill, and it has a kill.
Okay.
I don't think it has. Either way, it's based on the.
Right. It's using like 1/5 their HP.
Well, no, that's the.
You should grab it.
39%.
So he's Demi too.
He should be higher.
Okay.
Alright, one melon cart down. Sayonara.
Working on it.
See you tomorrow.
Alright, going to be swapping over to Drase's Sorcerer, who's been hanging out in the back, putting summons on people and running them in. She's going to advance towards the midline.
Yeah, summoning and high movement is incredibly desirable.
Oh, for sure.
I do love the fire and forget.
Mhm.
Oh, hey.
Jay's
You
Cloud.
woke up from the dead just in
Yes.
time to eat this summon.
Pretty much. But hey, at least you have some time to make a move here. Get something off.
Get there.
Maybe get a lucky Blade Beam. You never know. It's not really lucky as much as being able to get it off before it happens.
Oh, and I know. I always know. Let's see.
Alright. Jay's
at that
Cloud's
regen.
getting ready to charge. Brought him out of critical HP, and now swapping over to Jay's Sage.
He's standing strong. McCloud has come back from the dead. He's ready for action.
So coincidentally, just as a pointer here, since Regent is active on Cloud, his Blade Beam will start to get weaker because his HP is going back up and not down. So that could be potentially a problem depending on what ability Jay casts here.
I can't split that.
Okay.
So I did not even consider that like a ding dong.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, that was better off that you did that. Instead of going the other route. Alright. Sage is getting ready to charge up a magic here, and I'm going to swap it over to Drace's Parabir. Did you Parabir? Okay, just making sure.
I like how what the summon was a magic.
Mm-hmm. Casting
Charging up a magic over there. Yeah.
Alright, and I'll swap it over to Drace's Time Walker.
So just to be clear, Yoshinja, you're not in like a spectator mode. You're actually watching over Drace's shoulder.
More or less, yes.
Okay.
he is at my desk, and I have my computer running, and he is playing you on a different monitor.
Right on. It sounds like a tender scene.
Basically. He said it sounds like a tender scene. Yeah, pretty much. You figured it out.
Cool.
Not exactly, but
I'm a little envious.
But yeah, we have several nights where we're just kind of that's not good. So Jay's
That's gonna be you
assassin
guys
lands on the charm
real
here,
soon.
pretty much.
Yeah, that's right.
Put that charm on him. But yeah, we've had several nights where we're just kind of cultivating like improvements, adjustments, builds,
There you
stuff
go.
like that.
Heck yeah.
So Hazard is connecting
no.
to 248, and that will take down Drace's cloud.
It's really like that's where the collaboration is so like productive, because
Right.
two heads better than one, 100%.
Absolutely.
You start to see things that the other person didn't. You plug in the gaps, all that stuff, all that team building stuff that we teach you. It absolutely applies to doing something like this that you're trying to make work, and you're trying to make it work for a broad audience.
Yeah.
So definitely more input. I'm hoping that you guys get more playtests and more feedback of what's working, what makes the PvP fun, because again, like, even more than just having two people working closely on it, having people casually touch it and play it, like get their eyes and hands on it, is still super valuable.
Oh, definitely. All right, Drase is going to use his Apothecary's Geomancy to basically break the charm off of his Paraveer, returning AI control back to Drase. Yeah, that wastes a turn to do that, but he does have repossession of his Paraveer. And now swapping over to Drace's Cloud, who is now in critical condition but has been re-raised.
Cloud's portrait is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
What are you so concerned about?
He's always concerned. Cloud's his character portrait. It looks like Cloud's going to advance towards Jay's Sage, who's currently in cast time.
Honestly, I forgot she was there.
And Sage will go down from the Aura Blast.
Oh, that's a character that can use Mana Shield. This
Switching
is
over-
for Sage!
Switching over to Jay's Paraveer. Excuse me, Time Walker. Oh, no, that's Paraveer. I get those two confused because I have the same damn spray.
I was gonna say, I mean, you don't have a male samurai. You can make Paraveer or Time Walker one of them male, correct?
I mean, yes, we could do that with basically with a flip of a switch. I mean, that might be something to consider. Swapping Paraveer to male. Yeah. The only real downside is we're trying to keep the
Male to female.
male
ratio.
female ratio the same, like 11-11. That's going to be a little bit altered here, though. We are actually planning on bringing some new characters in next week. Once we get finalized and playtesting those, so that's going to change. I think potentially lose. I think we're going to lose a female automatically, if I'm not mistaken.
So you have a female white mage who does not have white magics, if I'm not mistaken.
We have a female white mage that does not
Yeah,
have white magic. Which way?
Yeah, is that Templar?
Templar. Okay, yeah. Well, Templar does have white magic. She has cure. I think cure. Oh, she has cure 1 through 3, and I believe even holy. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Huh? Maybe I misread the trouble board.
Yeah, she has cure 1 through 3 and holy, and also, I believe it's rend power. It could be rend armor,
Yeah,
but she has like 3
had
rends as well.
She did have some knight ability.
Yes.
Arts of War. So I was gonna say, if the sprite representation was of no concern and you're just putting in abilities, then that shouldn't be a problem to just kind of coordinate your males, females with the like a decent sprite representation.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like a male thief kind of looks like a sage. Like he could be a caster.
Yeah.
If you suggested it.
I got what you're saying. We actually next week Templar will be retired from the lineup and we'll be bringing in. I already pretty much mentioned this on the server. We'll be bringing in Balthier. He'll be taking over her spot.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes. Well, there's another unique coming in as well. We're actually potentially looking at 2 uniques coming in next week. But that will be the last.
I'm digging the uniques, man. Like the generics are cool, and they're characterful. But I dig the sprites of the uniques.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
And I mean, like their name suggests, they are unique. But yeah, I kind of hope you explore. Oh, GG.
GG to both of you.
I kind of hope you explore using more uniques and like playing around with their builds.
So let me pop a question to you, Jay. That since you mentioned that, just to get your personal thought. What if?
Oh, hold on! I gotta open this chest.
Oh, please do.
A Rabone.
It's gotta open his chest. What's your thought on a potential unique based pre-made lineup? I mean, everyone's
I suggested that to you.
I think you did, honestly.
Yeah, because you were talking about having like the sprites be representative of what their class was, and I mentioned like, well, shit, sorry. You got a bunch of uniques anyway, so maybe start there. Also, you have monsters, so there's a lot of artwork that you can leverage.
Yeah. Yeah, the bring of the first part. Yeah, you did bring that up. It was back in April. We're checking our messages real quick. You mentioned bringing in like Zalbag and Daisadart, Ygraph, Meludia, just to be specific who you mentioned. And I think at that time when we were talking about it, we were going the route of, at least for me especially, I wanted to try to give power to the people kind of deal, if that makes sense, where generics have more of a purpose. Like there's multi-purposes in each generic kind of deal. One could do something, one could do another. But we have been floating the idea of that a little bit more so lately than not. He's more or less, yeah. you should look into that.
Dude, you have multiple save slots on your save data. Why not try a save file with just generics? And then if your opponent agrees, like, hey, let's jump over to the second uniques only. And then it's just like, I don't know if you play Hearthstone at all, but it's the standard versus wild, where like anything goes, and your uniques can be whomever.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid suggestion actually. Let me just note that real quick. That actually wouldn't be a whole lot of effort in setting that part up, where there's just a secondary save slot, and then essentially make the secondary uniques. That way, when you load the I'm talking to Drase. Just let him know real quick. That way, when you load the pre-made save, you can go between the two, the generic save and hero save. It is more or less what we have. It is more or less what we talked about. Yes. But since we were floating the idea more recently, and we're bringing in more and more unique characters, I did want to try to cut it off at 5 at this point, which will be Balthier and the other character. I won't name exactly yet, just because we want to make sure all that's cool first. With what we're trying to look at.
Could it be?
Who could it be? I think it's another somewhat fan favorite guy. I'll just say it's a guy, but
I'm gonna say it's Luso.
Maybe, but
you need to be more inclusive of females, man. Just
right, yeah.
Gamergate and everything.
No, I wish there was. I mean, honestly, there's only a few female characters that are even considerable, like at least from the playable point. But
now one character that.
So. Sorry, I heard Drase talking.
One character that may actually have a job code, I'm not certain, in one battle specifically, and I don't know if they actually have any abilities against Petra.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're talking about Delita's sister. Yeah.
She may have.
Oh wow. I don't think she has any spray animations.
I don't think so
so
either. Yeah, that's gonna be half the problem.
um,
Seeing this.
does the
Yeah, she does have a sprite, and she does have a character model that was actually in a battle.
Right. She was in a
Right.
battle technically.
she's got the KO sprite animation.
Let me just skim through this real quick just to see if she's even in the data.
Does Delita with like the kingly robe and the massive shoulder pads, does that have a battle animation? Because I think on the War of the Lions PSP version, there is a story like vignette battle where he has to protect Ovelia and he looks all
Yeah.
sick. It looks hella dope.
If you're talking about is this sprite accessible, then
Yeah.
yes, you could actually set. Well,
Oof.
let me back that up a notch. I don't know if the actual battle sprite's accessible. The portrait's accessible through Line Editor, but I don't know if I can actually set the battle sprite to King Delita. I don't know if
is that what it's called, King Delita?
I think that's how the game normally. I think that's how he's handled as, or he's handled as Arcanite 1 to 2.
Yeah, which technically
Nice. King Deltia.
King Delta. Let's see. What is?
I mean, I would love to just go ham and free for all. Like, I don't care about what job class. I just want to use whatever sprite, and I just want to like make up a job and give it to them, and that's all they can use. Like mix and match abilities. Love to just go wild on that in this game.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely sounds interesting. That's for sure.
It's just it would be so difficult to balance, and if you are gonna go that route, then people will start demanding that it's like, dude, just make stop be a big old bubble and make Zodiark only one space. You know what I mean? So instead of like barking up that tree, I thought it would be best to just leave things as they were and just work with whatever Squaresoft gave us. And all we can do is just tweak stats of individual characters and not give them stuff that is too crazy or do.
Right.
And when we conceived of a tournament, the original idea was like, let people come to the tournament with whatever they come up with, and you have to be prepared for that. But the like,
okay,
how do you manage that, you know, and make it fun and fair?
Fun and fair. That's
I had no idea that I could de-level my character. I just wanted to play against people because I've never done it before. And then some dude's like, I've been playing for 20 years, kid.
Yeah, that might be that might be a problem. Having like that kind of like regulation and boundary, especially when it comes to like multiplayer, is always, at least there needs to be some boundaries to it. You don't have, I mean, it's cool to have the freedom and stuff, an option to be able to do things like that, but then if you're not careful, like, you could have people coming in with like stat cycled characters who are all capped on stats, 999 everything, and just sitting there, just doesn't matter what they use, they're like practically one shot you regardless.
Right.
That's not really fun at the end of the day. It's fun for them, but it's not really fun for you.
I don't know if you're familiar with Warhammer.
Yeah, I am. Mm-hmm.
You don't play by any chance, do you?
I do not, but I am aware of Warhammer.
I used to play in tournaments, the Warhammer Fantasy version, not the Warhammer 40,000, but you know, with all like the dragons and little soldiers, and you move them around in units and stuff like that. I mean, it's a fun game with you and like 3 of your homies to play in your garage on a Sunday, and you're just like drinking a couple beers and you're getting away from the wife and kids or whatever. But when you go to a 3-day tournament, all that time you spent like painting each and every model to the best of your ability, and then you see people who do it as like a profession, and then you see people who have like just done the statistics and ran simulations on their army and bought only the best and most expensive models and only played the armies that were in vogue. Like their rules were the last ones to be updated, so they had the most powerful stats. Their models always like are super detailed, so they always win best painted because it's like, well, they look sick and player's choice and all that. And so it really takes a coat of varnish off of the paint, so to speak. Like when you get into a competitive mindset on something that you love,
Yeah.
it will kind of like, I don't want to say ruin, but it does kind of smash those rose-colored glasses for you.
No, yeah, no, I definitely I understand exactly where you're coming from with that. That's never fun when you have to when the outlook changes.
And all of a sudden, you're the loser.
Right. Yeah. more or less. Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic, but
I mean,
but no, it does suck. But like, I mean, I think that's just part of sportsmanship at the end, you know? And it's
sure.
something more to encourage than it's something to encourage and not something to just like hope that happens. And I think that being a good tournament organizer, you need to be cognizant of that. You need to know the state of the game.
More or less, yeah, pretty much.
So, well, Yoshinja, please thank Drase for a deft whomping.
They said thank you for a whomping.
There's a lot. Anytime.
Anytime, any place.
Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate you coming in, Jay. It was awesome seeing you sign up and coming in and hanging out with us and doing some battles too. So I really appreciate you coming out as well and joining us for the
I
test.
had fun.
But
I'm really enthusiastic about talking about this game because it's my favorite game of all time, for starters, and now is the time. Like before COVID, I really thought like if I can get a little bit of like following going, this could be a thing in real life. Like
yeah, no, definitely.
Always what I wanted. Like
yeah.
Playing on PlayStation, I'm like, man, if only this was multiplayer. Like me and my best homie, we're handing off the controller and like loading each other's save files. Like, why can't we just play each other? It's so frustrating. And so finally, when PSP came out, oh my god, blows the doors off. And now, since we're seeing a kind of revitalization online with Final Fantasy Tactics and people playing AI and people playing on an emulator, and it's great to play right now if you're in quarantine. It's just it's right. It's right for that kind of attention. So I really do want to see this proliferate, and I'm hoping more people will start to catch on.
That is definitely the biggest goal that we're trying to aim for. Is hoping more people will be actively playing, actively providing feedback, all that sort. We're slowly starting to see a little bit more activity with more people like wanting to come try it out, at least at the very minimum. So that's good. And hopefully, as we continue going forward, that will be more and more people interested and will at least want to play or checking out what we have to offer, and kind of go from there. But I hear you, man.
It's exciting, man.
Definitely. Well, Jay, I think we're gonna go and take the stream down for the night. Appreciate you coming in, homie.
Absolutely, it was fun.
Oh, for sure, man. And hopefully, well, honestly, if at any point, this coming week, if you want to run it back again, or if you want to even do some starter matches, feel free to pop in Melee and see. I'm more likely down to play. Just let me know. Give me about an hour of time, or maybe Drase wants to play. Something of the sort. I'm sure somebody will play either way. All right, man. Well, have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us on the third battle test for this evening. We're gonna go ahead and call it for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was Drase versus JL doing the third pre-made battle test. Drase taking both Game 1 and Game 2. They didn't win it, did Game 3 just for fun. Drase also claimed that one as victor. And that's pretty much a wrap for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.